Good evening, everyone, and welcome back to the Friar for Game 2 of a quadruple set of games here for the Corndogs at home. Lost last night 11-2, looking to bounce back against the last place team in the SCBL. The Regulators have lost 8 in a row, trying to change their fate tonight in the final regular season matchup between these two squads. The pitcher for tonight is number 6, Aiden Meany. And Aiden Meany getting his second start of the season and facing a 1-1 count on the leadoff man, Nick Britt. Meany tosses that one high for ball number 2 as the Corndogs look to bounce back from that loss last night, one of the largest margins they've suffered on the season and against a reeling Concord team. Try not to underestimate another bottom 2 squad in the league tonight. Meanwhile, for the Regulators, the odds of not being in anywhere but the odds of them being the 6th seed are basically locked up at this point, sitting over 13 games back of the number 1 seeded Statesville Owls. As Meany starts things off with a strikeout here, and the Alabama Club Baseball product gets his 11th punch out of the season, the first at-bat of the game. But playoff implications not necessarily high in this one, though the Corndogs can further cement themselves as the 4 seed after that game last night. Helped the Athletics get within range of that 4 seed, as now the second batter is up, and it's going to be number 9, and that's Eli Duncan. Aiden Meany finding the strike zone here early. 0-1 in this count, and that's going to be ball number 1 on Duncan, who is a UNCC product, a 49er, but came all the way to the Queen City from Palo Alto, California. Now has a 2-1 count, against Aiden Meany, who entered this game with over 11 innings of work on the season, an 8.74 ERA, and a 2-1 count here. Goes low to bring up a 3-1 mark on the Californian, the 2-hole hitter for the Regulators here. These teams have not played each other in quite a bit, as that's the first walk of the night for Meany, his 12th of the season, and it'll send Duncan over. But the last time these teams faced off was actually all the way back in mid-June. It was June 17th that the Corndogs picked up a 17-7 win here in shortened innings, by run rule, as the lefty Josh Lale gets his first crack of the night. And we'll watch that pitch sail outside from Meany. Meany last started in Game 2 of a doubleheader versus the Statesville Owls. Though he allowed 6 runs, it was some of the best stuff he's had on the mound this year. That Statesville team is just a powerhouse with the bats, and the Corndogs, as well as Meany, just really couldn't stop them in either contest. As now a 1-1 pitch is coming up on number 23, Josh Lale. Lale, a Charlottean, making his 12th appearance of the season for the Regulators, has a runner over at first, threatening to steal, and that's going to be low and inside for ball number 2. Eli Duncan has yet to record a stolen base this season, making his 9th appearance over there on first base. As the 2-1 pitch is high, and another risk of walk for Aiden Meany to start things off here. Queen City has swept the season series so far versus the Regulators, winning 3 out of the 4 games by double digits, and winning by an average of 8.5 runs a contest. Now full count here on Lale, as Aiden Meany winds this one up and will be low and inside for his second consecutive walk. 2 runners on with 1 down for the cleanup man, number 21, Eric Sledge. Sledge has been the most productive hitter, arguably, for this Regulators squad that has had a tough season with the bats, in large part why they have found their way towards the absolute bottom of the standings here in the SCBL. But Eric Sledge has not been fitting that trend, as the Claflin University product has a 250 average with 3 RBIs on the year, and now a 1-0 count against Aiden Meany. Meany actually closed game 1 against Statesville on that doubleheader, then immediately came back on to start game number 2. Has seen a major uptick in work, as he was usually just a spot closer in games that the Corndogs had a bit of a cushion. Manager Jeff Pluto showing some more trust in the Alabama student slash club baseball player. And with 2 on, a 1-1 count, and now a 1-2 count as Sledge chases that one high in the zone. Sledge is a 6-foot, 200-pounder from Bristow, who has a team-high 18 strikeouts, and with a 1-2 count, make it 19. The second strikeout of the game for Aiden Meany, and 2 down here in the top of the first. Sending up number 51, Nathan Williams.
First baseman, Nathan
Williams, a college teammate of a few guys on this Corndogs squad, where he attends Gaston College. And batting 5th tonight is Williams, making his 15th appearance of the season. And will take strike 1 on the bottom right corner, looking from Meany right there. Great start to this one from Aiden Meany. As the righty deals this one in and gets a swing and a miss out of Williams. Just 1 pitch away from securing a trio of strikeouts here in the top of the first. Williams, second on this Regulators squad with 17 strikeouts on the year. Meany with the 0-2 count. Throws that one high and inside to keep this alive for Williams, who also leads the Regulators in RBIs, has 10 of them on the season. Hoping to punch in a few more here, but instead he'll punch it straight back towards the foul netting and keep the count at 1-2. Aiden Meany, we mentioned that he had made his first start in game 2 against the Owls. Pitched 3 innings in that one. We'll see how far he goes tonight, as both runners are going to go. The throw over to third looks to be in time, and the play is made. Tyler Cotto starting at third base tonight. Handles that one with ease. Tags off the runner and brings us to the bottom of the first in a 0-0 game. Welcome back, everyone, for the bottom of the first inning. Corndogs kept a clean sheet in the top of the first, which they were unable to do last night in a blowout loss to the Athletics. And now, in a game that they only scored 2 runs last night in, trying to put some more tallies on the board as Dave Mosry looks to start things off, and he won't. A close call over there, but Nathan Williams was able to pick up that ball that ricocheted off the pitcher and send up Tyler Cotto after one pitch. The pitcher tonight for the Regulators is number 39, Jackson Edwards, who, believe it or not, is not even listed on the current roster for the Regulators. We've seen this with the RBC, the Regulators Baseball Club, a little bit throughout the season, having to work on a short notice and bring in different guys from across their sphere of influence. And now Tyler Cotto will get the first look of the night at Edwards on the bump after the one pitch out from Dave Mosry. Puts one out on the board to start things off here for Cotto. And that one sails over the glove of the catcher Garcia for ball number 1. So while we have very little to talk about regarding Jackson Edwards, we do know that he is making his first start tonight and facing a tough batting order, contrary to the lack of runs the Corndogs put up last night. This Queen City squad has had some great success with the barrels when they're clicking, as Cotto fouls that one back for a 1-2 count upcoming. The Corndogs averaging just over 7.5 runs per game, getting on base just over 40% of the time. And with the 1-2 count, Tyler Cotto is going to go swinging, and that will be the first strikeout of the night for Edwards, who puts 2 up, 2 down here in the bottom of the first. So with those 2 outs, number 42, Dylan Lewis, looks to be the first Corndog to reach base tonight. Had a rough outing in his last contest. And in that performance, went 0 of 4 as he takes ball 1 there from Edwards, trying to find his swing again tonight, and will not go on that 85-mile-per-hour pitch right down the middle for strike number 1. Lewis will yield on one again, bringing up a 2-1 count. Three one now, and Lewis will take a big hack at that one, which brings up a full count. Edwards with the chance to go 3 up, 3 down here in the bottom of the first. Meanwhile, Dylan Lewis looking to get on the base path for the first time in a while after that 0 of 4 performance, but instead fouls this one back to keep the count alive. Lewis on the season is 4th in both walks and strikeouts on the Corndogs, and fortunately for Queen City, the latter prevails as the first base runner of the night heads over to first and brings up number 37, Harrison Bouthelette. Bouthelette cooled down a bit last night after he put up the best 2-game stretch a Corndog has put up all season, as Bouthelette rips that one into left field, but it's going to draw a foul for strike number 1. The lefty from Indian Land went 0 of 2 against Concord with a strikeout and a walk. That came off of a 2-game stretch in where Bouthelette went 8 of 8 with 6 RBIs, 3 home runs, and 4 doubles. Hard to keep that pace up, but the freshman from San Jacinto Community College hopes that he can at least get a good chunk of that production tonight. As Lewis over at first is going to stay while the pitch goes outside for a 2-1 mark. Lewis is third on the Corndogs in stolen bases, has 9 of them on the season. As he takes a big lead over here and will be thrown back and unable to get there is the ball from catcher Garcia. Williams couldn't handle that before Lewis slid back. So now a 3-1 count on Bouthillette, who draws walks at the third highest rate out of any Queen City player, but instead will opt to swing right here and ground it right over to Bianchina at second. He gives it to Williams and brings us to the second inning in a 0-0 game through 1. Welcome back, everyone, for the second inning between the Corndogs and the Regulators, tied at 0 through 1. And Nathan Williams, the first baseman for the Regulators, trying to start things off here, as instead he chops it to Kyler Cotto at third, and that throw is a difficult one to make. Will Samuelson couldn't get there in time, and the first base hit of the night for the Regulators comes from Nathan Williams, who was at bats earlier in the game at the top of the first, but a runner was picked off, so he gets a second chance and capitalizes with a single. Meanwhile, back at the plate, Roman Garcia, the catcher from Western Technical College, gets his 6th appearance of the year, number 38 for the Regulators. Has a runner on first in Williams, gets his first look at Meany of the night. The first pitch of this at-bat will go low and then spin around at the feet of Harrison Bouthillette behind the plate. So bring up a 1-0 count. As the throw back to first. Not there. Tyler Cotto starting at third, and Will Samuelson starting at first, both starting at those respective positions for the first time all season, as they're going to say that Garcia checked at the plate, and they'll say he went. A quick deliberation there between the two umpires, as we have a 1-1 count now on Garcia, who's 4 of 12 on the season, and swings and misses right there for strike number 2. Aiden Meany put up 2 strikes in the first inning, or 2 strikeouts, I should say. So a lot more than 2 strikes. And tries to get a third here, but instead that one is launched out into left field and will be gloved by Adam Quintero for the first out of this inning. That one sounded good off the bat, but hung in the air a bit as the Corndogs put one down here in the top of the second.
Coming up to bat, second baseman, Anthony Bianchina.
That sends up second baseman Anthony Bianchina. The lefty facing Meany for the first time tonight. Watches that one go towards his feet for ball number 1, Bianchina. A 5'8" switch hitter from UNC Charlotte. A few guys on this team attend UNCC as he tips that one foul. And now a 1-1 count on the 49er. Bianchina, another guy from California, from Lafayette, California. Coincidentally, both 49ers players that we've seen so far have been from the most west state in the continental United States. Staying close to college for their summer ball, and Bianchina will not like what he sees there. Makes a good decision as a 2-1 count now for Meany, who has struck out 2 and walked 2. And that's going to be ball number 3. Looked like it might have been in the zone, but the umpire has other plans, and now a 3-1 pitch on the way. Meany deals this one in, and it is popped up and over the left field fence. And that's deep into the woods here, bringing up another full count. We've seen a handful of these tonight from Meany thus far. So with Nathan Williams on first, 1 down, a full count. Meany winds this one up and gets his 3rd strikeout of the night. Good stuff right there from Aiden Meany as Anthony Bianchina strikes out for the 10th time this season. So with 2 outs now and the runner still on first, number 20, Caleb Freeman gets his first look at this Corndogs defense tonight. Caleb Freeman, a 6'4", 230-pounder, huge guy from North Greenville University, making his 11th appearance of the year tonight. And won't get a chance on that first pitch as it was an attempted pickoff that's not going to be there at first. And the actual first pitch will go down in the dirt for ball number 1. Williams taking a decent-sized lead at first, and that outside pitch is not going to be bid on by Caleb Freeman. As a 2-0 pitch on the way from Aiden Meany is going to once again be checked on, and now 3-0 on Freeman. Aiden Meany, in his last start, allowed 6 earned runs in 3 innings, had 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. As that's going to be strike number 1 in this at-bat. Already has 3 strikeouts through 1 2/3 of an inning. And the righty deals this one in for strike number 2. Climbing back in the count is Aiden Meany. If he's able to punch Freeman out here, you have to assume the Corndogs will be riding a huge wave of momentum. So 3-2 is going to be whiffed on by Freeman, and Meany gets his 4th strikeout of the game. 2 innings, 4 Ks for the Alabama product, and that sends us to the bottom of the second, tied at 0. Bottom of the second inning here, the Corndogs and Regulators trying to wait to see who draws first blood. Corndogs haven't got a hit yet through one inning, and Will Budnick looking to change that, but instead we'll take ball number 1 inside from Edwards. Will Budnick only got one at-bat against Concord, didn't start the game, but pinched in and went 0 of 1 at the plate. But Budnick, far from a bench player for this Corndog squad, has the 5th best average on the team as well as the 2nd most hits out of any dog. And almost got another one right there, but instead pulls it foul. 1-2 now is the figure. Edwards trying to get his 2nd strikeout of the night. And they're going to say that Budnick went. So the lefty strikes out for the 2nd time tonight. Or should I say, gets the 2nd strikeout of the night for the Corndogs. And he'll be followed by number 5, Nathan Sammy. Sammy, another guy who got pinched in last night during that blowout versus the Concord Athletics. Went 1 of 1 with a single in the bottom of the 9th inning when it was much too late to make a comeback. Looking to put up another hit or two tonight in a more meaningful set of innings, as quickly now 0-2 on the Middlebury product. And that one's going to be low for ball number 1, Nathan Sammy. Went 2 of 2 with a double and a sacrifice fly versus his Regulators team back on June 17th. Also walked off the game with a 2-run home run in the bottom of the 7th inning to secure the run rule victory for the Corndogs. The Regulators have dropped 8 in a row, 1-9 in their last 10. And after going 0-2 down in the count, that's similar to the rest of the season for the Regulators, as Sammy is able to battle back without even taking a swing and will get walked for the 2nd walk of the night, courtesy of Jackson Edwards on the bump. Now, number 15, Adam Quintero, up to bat, and Nathan Sammy was going to send it over to 2nd, but instead Quintero fouled that one back. Sammy has 7 stolen bases on the year for the Corndogs, good for top 5 on the team. Wonder if he'll go again in this at-bat, as it's now 0-1, and a liner right into the diving glove of Britt. The throw back, though, won't be in time, and a marvelous play in the infield by shortstop Britt, putting 2 away here in the inning for the Regulators. Number 39, Will Samuelson, now getting his first at-bat of the night. The powerful lefty from Tusculum will look off that first pitch inside for ball number 1. Samuelson went 0 of 2 against Concord when he was plugged into the game at 3rd base. And now pops this one back to even the count at 1. Samuelson playing at first base tonight for the first time all season, or at least for the first time in a start. Is a .222 hitter, has 4 hits on the year, and the pickoff attempt almost there as Sammy slipped a little heading back to first, but was able to get there just in the nick of time. So with 2 down, Sammy taking a big lead over at first. That will be a ball inside, and Sammy will get his 8th theft of the year. Putting a runner on 2nd now for Will Samuelson, who is in a 2-1 count after that high ball. Samuelson is 6 foot, 215-pound lefty from right here in Charlotte. Rips that one right into the glove of Nathan Williams at first, and another scoreless frame for the Regulators and the Corndogs as we head into the top of the 3rd. 2 down here between the Corndogs and the Regulators. Neither team has put a run up on the board. Credit where credit is due to these starting pitchers tonight, Edwards and Meany. Meany already has 4 strikeouts through 2 innings and has a 1-0 count. Make it 2-0 as he is getting his first look of the night at Andrew Goodman, the left fielder for the Regulators. And now 3-0 on Goodman, who is a Mooresville native, making his 12th appearance of the season. That one will be a strike, though, as Meany tries to climb back in the count once again. We've seen him do that once already tonight. Meanwhile, Goodman, the batter, will take strike number 2 there. Already took a few steps towards first, thinking that he had that one in the bag. And instead, it was pulled away under his feet. So a full count for Aiden Meany, who deals this one in, and it is going to be checked and bounce back towards the right section of the fans here at the Friar. A nice night for us in baseball. Bit of cloud coverage as it's not too cold, not too warm. Well, it's never too cold in Charlotte during the summer. And that pitch is very hot as Aiden Meany gets his 5th strikeout on the swing and miss. Aiden Meany was down 3-0 in the count and came back all the way to pick up his 5th strikeout of the game, setting up the outfielder number 10, Jorge Santana, who looks off that for ball number 1. Oh, this is going to be a strike as Santana was unable to check on that one. Santana, a 6-foot righty from Terra State Community College, pops this one up. Called for it short by Nathan Sammy and handled accordingly, putting 2 outs on the board for number 5. That's Nick Britt back in the top of the order for the Regulators.
Now batting, shortstop, Nick Britt.
Britt, who attends Winthrop University, is making his 15th appearance of the year tonight and has been a rare bright spot in this season defined by losing for the Regulators. Britt has a .372 average with a team-high 16 hits, 4 RBIs, and a home run as well. And grounds this one over to third base, scooped up by Tyler Cotto, who flings that one right past Will Samuelson, and that will be a base runner in Britt. Third base was an issue in last night's game for the Corndogs. 3 errors on the game, all coming from that hot corner. Samuelson, the man at first, made one of them. A few by Harrison Wilson, the usual starter at third base, who has been super steady. And though the score was a 9-run deficit at the end of the game, the Corndogs definitely could have used a few less errors if they wanted to make a comeback effort, as Britt is going to send it over, but instead that one will be popped back and along the warning track, handled by number 42, Dylan Lewis in center field, putting the third Regulator away here in the top of the third. And we'll go to the bottom half of the frame with the 0-0 tie still intact. Strike number 1 thrown by Edwards on the first pitch of the bottom of the third. Queen City nor the Regulators have yet to put a run up on the board, and Harris will watch that pitch go inside for ball number 1. That one is going to be fouled back by Harris. Who is now 1-2 in the count and will definitely not swing at that one as it goes way away for ball number 2. Luke Harris was the sole bright spot for the Corndogs last night. Went 2 of 3, versus Concord, but was the only Corndog with more than 1 hit. And this was coming after a cold streak where he had gone 0 of 3 in back-to-back games. So Harris trying to hit stride before the playoffs, and after that 2 of 2 performance, in his first at-bat tonight, has a full count that he launches into left field, but it looks like it'll be right into the glove of Goodman for the first out of this inning. A nice contact made right there by Harris, but angled itself right into the left field, and a routine play made, bringing up the bottom of the order and number 23, Miller St. John. That's going to be ball 1 for Edwards, as with 1 out, no runners on, and St. John tailing off the order for the Corndogs as he lifts this one into left field. It has distance, but not enough, as Goodman makes his second out of the inning and sends St. John back to the dugout with a what-if hit right there from the Gaston College Rhino turned Lenore Rhine-Bear. So, Dave Mossery, who grounded out on the first pitch of the game, will opt not to swing on the first pitch of this at-bat, his second of the night, as the order has made its way back around for Queen City. And now a 2-0 count from Jackson Edwards. Mossery, number 26 for the Corndogs, hit a RBI last night and lifts this one into left field, but it looks like it's going to draw a foul. And it was caught actually in left field, that corner that we don't have a great vantage point of, by Goodman once again. So Goodman doing all the work for the Regulators here, as we are only 40 minutes into this game, but already at the 4th in a 0-0 affair. Josh Lale leading things off here in the bottom of the 4th against Aiden Meany, who has been dealing so far for the Corndogs. And that one is going to be a leadoff base hit. Harris slides past it and unable to get to the ball in the right field. Lale's going to round over to third, and he'll stay there at second instead. So a double for Josh Lale, and the first extra base hit of the night for either side. Good start, setting up the plate for Eric Sledge. Lyle on second, getting checked out over there by Meany as he throws a ball on the first pitch of this at-bat. Sledge struck out when he was up earlier in the contest. That one, though, is far from a strikeout as it is lifted into right center field, handled by Dylan Lewis. And that will be one down here for the Corndogs. Number 51, Nathan Williams, got walked earlier in the contest, will get his second at-bat of the night, a 6'2", 235-pounder from Dallas. Coming off an 0-2 performance with 2 strikeouts against Lake Norman and a 7-1 loss. That was the 8th of an 8-game losing streak that is currently underway for the Regulators. And so far, I have to imagine they have the Corndogs right where they want them in a low-scoring game, which has not been typical. The Regulators have had a pitching dilemma through most of the season. Only one pitcher on this Regulators squad with over 5 innings of work has a positive strikeout-to-walk ratio. And tonight, though, Jackson Edwards looking to be a solution. Meanwhile, as back at the plate, Nathan Williams. As a runner in scoring position, the team leader in RBIs is Williams. Would love to put his Regulators on the board here. Meany has a 1-2 count and deals this one in. It's going to be lined towards the center, and it will go to center. The runner is going to come home. The throw is going to be close, but not close enough as the Regulators draw first blood and head up 1-0 on the RBI single from Nathan Williams. Josh Lale's double pays off, and now the Corndogs have one out with a 1-run deficit on their hands.
Catcher, Roman Garcia.
Roman Garcia, the catcher, back up to bat with Williams on first, and will not bite on that outside pitch number 1. Bringing up a 1-0 count. Garcia is seen limited action so far this season as he takes a big hack at that one right there. Garcia from Western Technical College, a 6', 230-pounder, big presence in the box. As that's going to be strike number 2 on Garcia. Make the count 1-2. Meany trying to bounce back from allowing his first earned run of the game. Nathan Williams over at first, not a threat to steal, but showing it as that one will bounce over foul and keep the count at 1-2. So Garcia trying to keep this inning alive for the Regulators. Faces a 1-2 pitch, and that'll even the count as Garcia doesn't chase on that one. Meany deals this one in, and it is lofted into left field, but it's going to be stale. That will stay fair. Williams will head over to third. Garcia chugs along to second, and a third consecutive hit for the Regulators, 2 of them being doubles, as the away team starting to gain some momentum in this one, up 1-0 with 2 in scoring position. So after Meany tossed an absolute gem through 3 innings, facing some adversity here as Bianchina lofts that one up into the shallow outfield, handled by Dylan Lewis, and Williams not going to test the arm of the center fielder. So now make it 2 outs with 2 runners in scoring position, and the man trying to keep this hot streak going with the bats is number 20, Caleb Freeman. Freeman, through 10 games on the season, is 7 of 31 at the plate with 7 RBIs, one of them coming on a home run. And with 2 out, 2 in scoring position, the righty from North Greenville will wait for his pitch, as that's ball number 1 from Meany. That one, though, will be a clear strike, 79 miles per hour from Aiden Meany, trying to bend but not break here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Has 2 outs already, and that one will be grounded over to Nathan Sammy at shortstop. The throw will be there to Samuelson, and though he allowed 1 run in the frame, Aiden Meany shows some resilience on the bump and brings us to the top of the 5th with the Regulators on top by 1. Tyler Cotto leads things off here for the Corndogs, as we are here in the bottom of the 4th inning. Two-1 now on Cotto, who struck out his first time up, and we'll watch that go inside. 3-1 now on the second leading home run hitter in the SCBL, tied with Nathan Sammy of the Corndogs as well, as Jackson Edwards will get that one in the zone to bring up a full count. Tyler Cotto is 3rd on the Corndogs in strikeouts and leads the team with walks, as this one is going to be neither. Instead, it will be lifted up into center field and handled by Eric Sledge, as the first batter is down here in the bottom of the 4th. The Corndogs have only struck out 2 times tonight, but have yet to record a formal base hit. Jackson Edwards doing his job right now for the Regulators, facing Dylan Lewis, who walked the first time he was at the plate, and we'll watch that pitch go way outside for ball number 1. Dylan Lewis was 0-4, as we mentioned, against Concord, and takes a big hack at that one to move to 1-2 on the count. Edwards looking for his third punch out of the game and won't get it on that outside pitch. Clocked in at 87 miles per hour. The Regulators giving the Corndogs all they can handle here early, and that will be another high pitch. Count now 3-1 on Dylan Lewis. Lewis has the 4th most hits out of any Corndog on the year with a 301 average, but goes chasing on that one, or at least takes a swing and a miss on that one, I should say, for yet again another full count. Lewis also 4th on the Corndogs in walks, but instead he'll get struck out right there. The 3rd of the night for Jackson Edwards, and the Corndogs' cold hitting continues.
Coming up to the plate, catcher,
Harrison Bouthillette, who is 0-1 with a ground out on the game, getting his second at-bat of the night. And first pitch will be high for ball number 1. Harrison Bouthillette. Last time these two teams played, went 2-4 at the plate with an RBI double and an RBI single. Looking for similar production tonight, as the 1-1 pitch will be low. And Harrison Bouthillette has ascended up the statistical scoreboard for the Corndogs, leading Queen City, or in the top 3 for Queen City in almost every major category. But what's most impressive is the runs batted in, not only leading Corndogs in that category, but the entire Southern Collegiate Baseball League. Another category he is very familiar with is walks. Has 15 of them, which is good for 3rd on the team, and now 16 after that one right there to get on first base, and a quick meeting in store for Jackson Edwards, who has tossed a scoreless 3 2/3 of an inning here at the Friar. We'll be back and see what decision is made. Will Budnick looking to capitalize on having a base runner, something the Corndogs haven't been able to say a lot tonight or yesterday night through just about 13 innings of play here in this homestand for Queen City. It's been a rough go with only 2 runs scored, as Budnick fouls that one for strike number 1. An even count at 1 for the lefty out of Queen's University, who went 1-4 with an RBI single versus this very Regulators team just over a month ago when they last faced off. Very rarely in a 6-team conference do you see a 30-day plus gap in between two matchups between a conference rivalry, but instead of the normal, that's been anything but the case, because rainouts, delays, forfeits, etc., and 31 days later we are here in a much different game after that 17-7 blowout. The Athletics have taken advantage so far. The Regulators, and that will be the 3rd out of the inning as Budnick lines out to Santana in right. Corndogs have nothing going through 4. Andrew Goodman starting things off here in the top of the fifth with the Regulators on top 1-0. Corndogs have virtually received nothing from their batting order in this contest. Jackson Edwards, the starting pitcher tonight for the Regulators Baseball Club, has been fantastic to say the least, as has Aiden Meany, who gets a swinging miss right there for strike number 1 out of Goodman. Meany has 5 strikeouts through 4 innings and deals this 1-1 pitch in for another chase out of the zone. Goodman has to protect the plate now as the 5'10", 185-pounder, who has 13 strikeouts on the season, hoping not to make it 14. Meany locks, loads, fires, and it's going to be hit blurred over to Tyler Cotto, or Will Samuelson, it looks like, has moved over to third. Tyler Cotto has come out of the game, and Will Budnick has moved to first. But whatever order you want to put them in, or wherever they're playing on the field, that is a out right there for the first one of the fifth. Goodman goes down on the ground out, with Jorge Santana following him up and taking ball number 1 low and away. So, just to clarify, Budnick came in place of Will Samuelson, who moved over to third, who took Tyler Cotto's place, who is now an extra/designated hitter. And that one is going to be hit, but not far, as Miller St. John will track it down in the infield. And quick 2 outs here for Aiden Meany and company. Both teams have been very solid on this side of the ball, looking to see really who can capitalize so far with getting in scoring position. The worst inning a pitcher has thrown so far tonight was the 1-run top of the fourth that Meany had. Allowed 3 hits, 2 of them being a double, but still kept 2 runners in scoring position off of home plate. As Samuelson gets work again, the running throw will be there, and a quick 3 up, 3 down for Aiden Meany, bringing us to the bottom of the fifth in this fast-flying affair between the Regulators and the Corndogs. Bottom of the 5th inning, still 1-0 in favor of the Regulators. Not a lot of scoring in this one, so for those of you who are defensive enthusiasts, a lot to like. For those who want some fireworks, you'll just have to wait. As the new pitcher is in the game for the Regulators, number 15, Justin Wignott. And gets a big swing out of Nathan Sammy on his first pitch of the night. Wignott, a 5'10", 175-pounder from right here in the Queen City, making his 6th appearance on the bump. And tossing that one inside to even up the count at 1. Nathan Sammy, who has been walked tonight in his first at-bat, getting another chance here. And the first Corndog to see Wignott on the game, as that pitch is going to be outside for ball number 2. Sammy with the second most home runs in the SCBL, 4 of them. Made great contact with that one, but pulled it foul for strike number 2. Wignott has started 1 game so far this season and pitched 15 2/3 of an inning up until this point, as a 2-2 count will sail on the righty from Charlotte and bring up a full count. Wignott, who attends Virginia Tech, tries to capitalize on this Corndogs lineup that has been ice cold tonight, but instead will walk Sammy for the second time tonight. And now with a runner in the base path, or on the base path, which has been a rarity in itself with the Corndogs, Quintero has a good opportunity to spark a rally for Queen City. You've been waiting for the bats of the Corndogs to really do something over the past game and a half, but instead it's been the exact opposite, held at bay by the opposing pitchers in this contest and the one last night against the Athletics. Someone has to break the seal and open the water dam for the Corndogs, as that's going to be a ball on the sinking pitch for Wignott, who has a 5.75 ERA, one of the better ERAs on this Regulators team. Clearly trying to end that large losing streak they're currently on. As the attempt to pick off Sammy at first is not going to be there. Sammy stole a base his first time after getting walked, and that was his 8th of the season. Threatening once again, and Quintero hits that one into left field, and it will carry fair. That is a home run. Adam Quintero gets a 2-run bomb to put up his first of the season. Taps his college teammate Nathan Williams at first. A little joyful taunting right there. Puts the Corndogs on top 2-1. Just when we said that someone needs to open the water gates for the Corndogs, it's none other than Adam Quintero, who had 10 home runs, at Gaston College last year. Talked to us earlier and said that he opened up a new dimension of his game with the power hitting, and we saw it on full display there as that one rode the left field line for his first dinger of the SCBL season. 2-1 affair now. Corndogs trying to capitalize on this momentum that they've gained now all of the sudden. And Will Samuelson, the first batter tasked with keeping the flame alive, will foul that one right towards his own dugout. The lefty lined out his first time up as he faces the lefty Wignott for strike number 2 looking. So a new pitcher put into the game for the Regulators, and immediately the Corndogs take advantage of the fresh arm, and that one will be fouled back by Will Samuelson to keep this count at 0-2. And that one's actually going to roll right down the hill back towards the Corndogs dugout, as an 0-2 pitch is in from Wignott and will be ruled strike number 3, his first punch out of the game. And a nice bounce back at bat after giving up the 2-run shot to Quintero.
Right fielder, Luke Harris.
Luke Harris will follow up that strikeout with his second at bat of the night. One down here for Wignott and the Regulators. And that was the 10th punch-out of the year for Wignott, who continues to find the strike zone with a first pitch right in there for an 0-1 count. Luke Harris, 0-1 on the night with a line out, and the righty will watch that one go just inside for ball number 1. Harris went 1 of 2 with an RBI single the last time these teams faced off. And the righty from Edgemoor, South Carolina gets under that one, but just not enough as it will fall into the glove of Jorge Santana for the second out of this inning. Wignott bouncing back nicely after giving up the 2-run home run.
Second base.
Still one more out to get to bring this to the 6th inning. As Miller St. John, who lined out when he first batted, tailing the order once again for the Corndogs, getting his first look at Wignott. As the first pitch of this at-bat will be low for ball number 1. Wignott pitched 3 1/3 of an inning against Queen City on June 17th. Only allowed 2 runs on 4 hits. So far tonight has allowed 2 runs on 1 hit, as that is going to be a second, courtesy of Miller St. John. The utility infielder for the Corndogs does it on the offensive side and gets the first base hit of the night for Queen City. Their first real hit that wasn't courtesy of an error, actually, came on that home run from Quintero.
Dave Masri.
So now Dave Masri leading off tonight for the Corndogs gets his 3rd at-bat and signaling the 3rd go-around of this order. Starting things off at the ball here against Wignott, who had 3 walks and 3 strikeouts when he faced the Corndogs mid-June. Has 1 strikeout here so far with 2 down in the bottom of the 5th. St. John is going to be caught in a pickle and will be tagged out at second. A play made by Bianchina, and that will bring us to the 6th inning, but not without the Corndogs putting some numbers up on the board. A 2-run home run from Adam Quintero puts Queen City ahead as we head into the 6th. Aiden Meany for the Corndogs had a season high of 3 innings pitched in his last start against the Statesville Owls, already in his 6th so far of the night. smashing that previous mark and now has a lead to protect after a 2-run home run from Adam Quintero gave Queen City a 2-1 advantage here in the top of the 6th. Eli Duncan starting things off for the Regulators, and a 2-0 count on Duncan, the 49er of UNC Charlotte, a 5'8", 175-pound catcher who's playing extra hitter tonight. Now has a 3-0 mark to his advantage. Has only been walked 2 times in 8 games on the year, but will not do that this time as that one rifles off, and Cannon Pierce, the new sub in at third, unable to make that play, a difficult one to make. So a leadoff single for Eli Duncan, his second hit of the year in over 20 at-bats. Has to feel good for him as he gets over on first. Number 23, Josh Lale, back in the batter's box. Hit a double the last time he was up. This is the part of the order that gave Aiden Meany some trouble in the top of the 4th. And a foul back right there from Lale, who is playing tonight at left field, I believe. Excuse me, he's playing at third base. Lale, 8 of 32 on the year with only 1 RBI. Has a runner over at first and a 1-1 count. And Lale, the last time he faced the Corndogs, went 0 of 3 with a strikeout, already topping that performance tonight. Though it isn't hard to top that performance. All you need is a base hit, really. And with a runner on first, Lale hits this one over towards Sammy. The throw will not be there. A difficult one as Miller St. John lets it squeak past him. Lale going over to second as it's uncovered, and not a double, but a single with an extra base picked up. And now 2 in scoring position with no outs. Similar situation to earlier for Aiden Meany. He's able to bounce back from that, though. Looking to do the same once again with number 21, Eric Sledge, getting his 3rd at-bat of the night. Meany's already struck out Sledge once tonight and has 5 punch-outs on the game in total. A new season high as well for Meany, as he deals this one in and away for ball number 1. With those 5 strikeouts, Meany now up to 15 on the season. And that one will be chopped away for a foul ball and strike number 1. Regulators wasting no time, putting themselves in a position to tie or take the lead here. So with no outs, the tying run is on third. The leading run over on second. No outs, and Meany looking to rebound as that's going to be a 79-mile-per-hour strike right in the middle from Meany. 1-2 count now on Sledge, who leads this Regulators squad with 19 strikeouts, but won't bite on that one as it's high for ball number 2. Meany, though he plays at Alabama and is a resident of Harrisburg, North Carolina, actually comes from Nashua, New Hampshire, all the way up on the East Coast, as that one is blasted into the outfield and tracked down by Luke Harris, but the tying run will get there on the sacrifice fly. Sprinting across home plate is number 9. That's Eli Duncan, evening this one up at 2. But more importantly for the Corndogs, they get that first out and are able to have a little bit more breathing room, despite the score now being tied. Nathan Williams heading up to bat with the leading run on second in Josh Lale. But a quick meeting between the catcher Harrison Bouthelette and number 6, Aiden Meany. We've seen some adjustments on the infield throughout the game. Budnick moving over to third, as well as Tyler Cotto being completely subbed out of third base. And now the third baseman of the night for the Corndogs is Cannon Pierce. looking to address that situation. Usually it's Harrison Wilson out there, the sure-handed Winthrop Eagle, but getting a night of rest and finding some production other than Wilson at third base has been a bit of a journey, especially in the past few games. So with a fresh at bat, Nathan Williams will look at strike number one, go right down the middle. Williams went 2 of 3 against Queen City on the 17th with an RBI single. Has yet to pick up a hit tonight, does the Gaston College Rhino. Batting 154 on the year and now his 15th game. Facing a 1-1 mark right here and ripping it foul back into the little stream here at Charlotte Ladin for a 1-2 count on the way. Meany, if he escapes this inning with only letting one more run on the board, you have to feel pretty comfortable if you're the Corndogs, as the runner Lail is going to go, but that one is lofted up into right field. It's going to draw a foul, and Luke Harris won't be able to get there in right. So the count stays alive, 1-2 on Williams. With one out, Lail, who doesn't steal a lot of bases, over at second, gunned it on that last swing, but has to return back to his base over there at second. And once again, we face a 1-2 mark with Williams. And that one is going to bounce into the dirt, elude Harrison Bouthelet, and put the leading run in Lail over at third. Bouthelet just looked to have lost that one, a difficult time tracking it down. And now a 2-2 count. Aiden Meany has one down here in the top of the sixth. Deals this one in and outside. So a full mark now on Nathan Williams, who is second on this Regulators squad with 17 strikeouts. Has 8 walks on the season as well. And Meany, looking for his 6th punch-out of the game, will not get it right there, as Williams once again keeps the count alive. Battling is the Dallas native, standing at 6'2", 235 pounds. Takes up a big space there in the batter's box and proving to be a difficult player to retire here for Meany. And we'll do this once again with a 3-2 count, and it's going to be lined over. The throw to home. Bouthelet will apply the tag, and Lail thought that he would have an easy sacrifice RBI on the fielder's choice, but instead, the Nathan Sammy makes a wise decision, guns it home to Bouthelet, and
Roman Garcia.
puts out the second regulator of the inning, while making sure that Williams will just stay at first, where he is way less of a threat than a runner on third or the lead in this game. Now Roman Garcia returns to the batter's box and fouls that one for strike number 1. Meany has cooled down a bit here in regards to the strikeouts. The Regulators, with more experience, figuring him out a little bit, but still has only given up 2 runs through 5 2/3 of an inning. Wonder if this would be his last inning, pending that he's able to get out of it here. And a 1-1 pitch will be lined up, and Cannon Pierce won't be able to corral it. The throw, though, will be in time. Roman Garcia not fast enough to evade that one, and Cannon Pierce had you in the first half, but ends up completing the play to retire the Regulators and send us to the bottom of the 6th. Dave Mosry returns to the batter's box. Was up in the bottom of the fifth inning before Miller St. John got caught in a pickle for the final out. So a second chance for Mosry, who has to duck under that one from Justin Wignott, making his second inning of work. Wignott allowed the two-run home run to give the Corndogs the lead, but his squad was able to level things at 2 in the top of the sixth, and now has the pressure of keeping the Regulators within striking distance once again. So a 1-1 count on Mosry, who is 0 of 2 as the leadoff man tonight. And they're going to say that Mosry went on that pitch, so 1-2 now on the Williams product. Mosry, who bats .324 on the year, will line that one into left center field as he gets his first hit of the night to start things off here in the bottom of the sixth. First single for Mosry on the game, and only the third hit for the Corndogs, all of which have come off of Wignott. Tyler Cotto, who is 0 of 2, has Mosry at first with no outs, and you wonder if it's time for Tyler Cotto to bring out a bit of the juice. The righty will look to do that right there, as that's a foul ball for strike number 1. Tyler Cotto went 2 of 4 when the Regulators came into the Friar last month with an RBI and had 2 steals in the process. Cotto batting .321 on the year. Has 26 hits, 25 RBIs, both second, respectively, out of any Corndog. And with an 0-1 count, the righty from Queen's University will take the pitch from Wignott and foul it up and over the right field side for a 0-2 mark on the way. Tyler Cotto with Dave Mosry over there on first. Mosry has 5 stolen bases on the season, but facing a lefty pitcher who can see him the whole way. And back at home plate, that will go right into the dish for ball number 1. 1-2 on Cotto, looking for his first hit of the night. Cotto, 6'2", 210-pounder, coming off a 1 of 3 performance against Concord. Accidentally fouls that one for another strike, or at least another chance, as he already had 2 strikes. Cotto frustrated with that one, as it would have likely given him a 2-2 count. Instead, we're still at 1-2 with Wignott dealing this one in and looking for strike number 3, the second of the night for Tyler Cotto and the second strikeout for Justin Wignott. So with 1 down, Dylan Lewis gets his first look at Wignott. Lewis is 0 of 1 on the evening, got walked in his first at-bat and struck out the second time. Mosry is still at first, looking not to take a huge lead with Wignott, the lefty, being able to look him down. And that will be another strike looking, the Corndogs, giving the umpire the benefit of the doubt, but right now the strike zone looking generous for both sides, as a 0-1 pitch is on the way from Wignott with Mosry at first, and that one will be lined right into the creek with an 0-2 count now on Dylan Lewis. Lewis with the 4th most hits out of any Corndog will stop on that one and allow his teammate Dave Mosry to get over to second for his 6th stolen base of the season. Good decision by Lewis, as a runner now in scoring position, and a 1-2 count on the outside ball from Wignott. Wignott now up to 11 strikeouts on the season, and nearly hit Lewis there. Has to scoot back in the box right there for Ball number 2, even count now with Masri over at second. Still only one down. Regulators trying to keep this game at 2 apiece. And Lewis, with Masri stealing again, will swing and miss. Though Masri is able to advance to third. 2 down on back-to-back strikeouts from Wignott. Taking down 2 of the most prolific batters in the Corndogs order. But the job isn't finished yet, and you're facing arguably the most prolific hitter in the Corndogs order in Harrison Bouthelette. Bouthelette, who leads the conference in runs batted in, as well as the Corndogs, has a whopping 29 RBIs on the season, with Masri right over there on third base. A potential 30th for the lefty, who's batting just under 350 on the season. Has the most hits out of any Corndog as well. And was looking for another one right there as the swinging strike high in the zone evens the count at 1. Wignott has looked to have settled in a bit. As with 2 down and a 1-1 count, Masri, the potential game-leading run over at third. And Bouthelette will foul that one back, foul for the second strike of the at-bat. Now Wignott just 1 pitch away from potentially getting out of this miniature jam. Meanwhile, Bouthelette, who is 0 of 1 on the night, has been walked and grounded out, will foul one back right there to keep the at-bat alive. Bouthelette, if there is one knock on his game, it's that he has the second most strikeouts out of any Corndog, 20 of them on the season. But I think if you're Jeff Pluta and the Corndog staff, you'll take some of that risk for the reward that has been 5 home runs and 29 RBIs. And with a 1-2 count, Wignott will beam that one into the dirt for a 2-2 mark. Bouthelette battling right now. Has, as mentioned, turned things on out of nowhere, really. And with a 3-2 count now, a chance to get back on base. Has already been walked once tonight, but Bouthelette has been dynamite against the Disco Turkeys and versus Concord. Went 8 of 8 with 5 extra base hits. And lines one over to Bianchina at second. The play will be there, and the disaster is averted for Justin Wignott and the Regulators. 2-2 heading into the 7th. So Aiden Meany's night is done. He finishes the game with a sensational set of innings pitched. Meany had 5 strikeouts through 6 innings of work, allowed only the 2 runs, and has the Corndogs in a position to potentially take this game. And number 24 up to bat is Anthony Bianchina facing Carson Sanner, a lefty who is not even listed on the Corndogs roster, and will foul that one right back for strike number 1. Bianchina back at the plate, the California kid, starting at second base tonight for the Regulators. Makes contact with that one and pops it straight up, but it looks like it'll just go foul. Back on the opposite side of the stop right there. Carson Sanner with an 0-2 count, making his first appearance of the season for the Corndogs. Winds this one up and will get the strikeout on Bianchina. 1 down on the K. Nice start there for Sanner.
Designated hitter, Caleb Freeman.
Number 20, Caleb Freeman, back up to bat after the strikeout from Carson Sanner. And if you couldn't put the pieces together, related to Corndogs infielder Garrett Sanner, and has been dealing so far in his Queen City debut. And that's going to be strike number 2, it appears, on the half go. Sanner, who attends King University, has an 0-2 count and a chance to pick up his second strikeout in as many at-bats, which he does right there. Carson Sanner wheeling and dealing on the bump for the Corndogs. Welcome to the SCBL. Sanner, we mentioned, attends King University. Don't have much more info on him, as a new character is unlocked for the Corndogs and looking to be a difference maker right here, as that one is chopped over towards Cannon Pierce at third. The running throw is there, and a quick 3 up, 3 down for Carson Sanner. Looking like he's been here the entire season, as that sends us to the bottom of the 7th, still tied at 2.
Bottom of the seventh, first baseman, Will Bartner.
Bottom of the seventh inning between these two SCBL foes, the Regulators and your home team, Queen City Corndogs. I'm Jonah Weintaub. Happy to be bringing you tonight's call as the first pitch of this inning will go into the dirt for ball number one. Will Budnick up at bat and starts things off with a little blooper into the infield that will be handled by the infielder number 4, and that's actually Jacob Gilliming
Coming up to the plate,
replacing Bianchina at second.
Nathan Sammy.
So 0 of 3 now for Budnick on that ground out, which brings back up Nathan Sammy, who has yet to record a hit tonight, but is also got it on base both times with a walk. The on-base percentage is looking flawless in this one for Nathan Sammy as he takes that one inside for ball number 1. One down for Justin Wignott in his third inning of work. And make it 2-0 now. The Corndogs have only scored 4 runs over the past 16 or 15 innings, I should say. Yet average 7.65 on the season. That number steadily decreasing with performances like this. And apart from the 2-run blast from Adam Quintero, not a lot of fireworks on the Queen City side of things, as Sammy with a 3-0 count is going to get walked for the third time on the night. Not having to do a lot of swinging, but has reached base each time he stepped up to the plate,
Right fielder, Adam
which brings back up the man of the hour, Adam Quintero. Quintero finally got his first real signature hit with the Corndogs. Entered tonight's game with 5 hits and 2 RBIs. Picked up 2 more on that home run. But instead, he gets under this one and chips it right up to the catcher. Garcia makes the play behind the plate. And Adam Quintero returns to the Corndogs dugout with 2 outs on the board here in the bottom of the 7th. And Will Samuelson, the third baseman, has been replaced by number 10, Cannon Pierce. Pierce, we've seen him play outside of his usual outfield positions with a first base appearance last night and getting at third base tonight. Pierce was 1 of 2 last night against Concord and fouls that one towards the light post here and into the woods for strike number 1. Pierce went 1 of 3 versus the Regulators on June 17th and had 2 walks, 2 stolen bases, batting .350 on the year, which is good for third out of any Corndog, and will make contact with that one, knocking over the pitch speed clock behind home plate. An 0-2 count, Wignott looking to get out of this one with only allowing Sammy to get on via the walk. 0-2 for the lefty from Virginia Tech, who deals this one in and is dug out of the ground by Cannon Pierce. The rally to first is made, and that's number 23, Josh Lale, moving over to first and making the play to send us to the 8th inning, still knotted up at deuces. Jorge Santana, the right fielder, tonight for the Regulators, starting things off in the top of the 8th. A game that has gone by quickly because of a lot of, or I should say a lack of offense. Both teams have been duking it out back and forth to this point, where we're now at 2 apiece and a 1-0 count on Santana, who takes the pitch from Carson Sanner. Fouls that back and evens up the count at 1. Sanner coming off a near flawless debut inning for the Queen City Corndogs. Got 2 strikeouts and didn't allow a hit in that. Went 3 up, 3 down. And looking to return to that form for a second go at things. But the pitch outside won't catch Santana chasing, and a 2-1 pitch on the way. Santana from Terra State Community College is batting .143 through 11 games. And now has a favorable 3-1 mark. Has only been walked 4 times this season, has Santana. Coming off an 0-2 performance against Lake Norman with the strikeouts. And with a 3-1 count here, we'll dig that one up, and St. John will try to stop it, but it will have no play there as it just kind of died in the dirt off of St. John's chest, allowing Santana to get over to first and give the Regulators their first base runner of the inning. Top of the order now back up with number 5, Nick Britt. Britt, who leads this Regulators squad in hits and batting average. We have yet to see him make a ton of noise tonight, as the righty takes that pitch from Sanner and fouls it straight back for strike number 1. No outs yet after the leadoff man Santana was able to use that infield single and sprint over to first base. Santana, meanwhile, has 6 thefts on the year and taking a big lead, which prompts the throw over to Will Bundick. Carson Sanner, the lefty, has a clear view of Santana and deals this one low for ball number 1. Nick Britt went 1 of 2 the last time these teams met, and takes a big swing and a miss right there. Sanner has him in a 1-2 hole. Santana looking to take a moderate-sized lead over there at first. Nothing too crazy, though he does have, as we mentioned, a handful of steals on the year. And this count will stay alive on the foul ball, courtesy of Britt from Chesapeake, who attends Winthrop University, a teammate of Harrison Wilson, the usual third baseman for the Corndogs. As a 1-2 toss is loaded in and popped straight up, but that looks like it will carry over and foul. Another opportunity for Nick Britt to capitalize after keeping that at-bat alive. Has really hung in there during this set of pitches from Sanner, but still has a 1-2 count. Not the best advantage. Sanner looking for his 3rd strikeout and will not get it. The wild pitch allows Santana to trot on over to second, and the count evens up at 2s. Nick Britt has struck out 13 times on the year. 14 games, 13 strikeouts isn't an alarming number, as the 5'10", 175-pound righty takes this 2-2 pitch and gets his 14th strikeout of the year. Meanwhile, Sanner continues his dominance. 3 punch-outs here in just over an inning of work, which brings up Eli Duncan, the extra hitter. Carson Sanner looking like he has been a staple of this Corndogs roster throughout the entire season. You'd be fooled to tell the casual watcher that this is just his first appearance with the Queen City SCBL team on the year. as the lefty gets an outside pitch for ball number 1 on Eli Duncan, the 5'8", 175-pounder from Palo Alto, California. Duncan got his second hit of the season tonight, 2 of 24 in 8 games, make it 9 after this one. And a quick 2-0 advantage for Duncan at the plate after that pitch is nowhere near the strike zone from Sanner. Two-0 count with 1 out, and Santana still chilling out there over at second. Sanner looks back at Santana and deals this one in for strike number 1 at 73 miles per hour. That will get the job done for sure. Eli Duncan coming off an 0 of 4 performance with a strikeout against Lake Norman. Already has 1 hit tonight. Can he make it 2? That one was close, but it tails off foul on the ground ball for a 2-2 pitch on the way. Sanner already has 3 punch-outs on the game and hasn't even thrown a full 2 innings yet. Eli Duncan with a 2-2 count. Meanwhile, Sanner locks and disarms himself as he steps off the bump. A slow-moving at-bat, both these guys tactically trying to pick their spots. Potential to take the lead with the run over at second, and that one will be fouled off. Oh, they're going to... It took them a while to rule that foul. Looked pretty clear and obvious to me, but better late than never as the 2-2 count stays intact. Eli Duncan will have to return back to home plate. Corndogs knotted up in a defensive battle versus the Regulators. Not something you would expect to hear considering the average margin of victory in the Corndogs 4-0 season series that they hold over the Regulators so far is 8.5 runs. The Regulators trying to break their 8-game losing streak have brought the Corndogs all the way to the bottom of the 8th, or the top of the 8th rather. But Carson Sanner has other plans as he gets his 4th strikeout already. And that will send up Josh Lale, the third baseman, who has a double in this game, 1 of 2 extra base hits for the Regulators. A lefty-on-lefty matchup, and the pickoff attempt at second will not be there. Santana didn't steal that first base. It was on a wild pitch that he got over to second after an infield single. But now with 2 outs, Santana has stayed put at second, and Lale looking to drive Santana in, but is not going to be able to do so with pitches that paint the corner like that. 0-1 for Carson Sanner. As the lefty deals this one in and will be ball number 1. Sanner has struck out 4 of the 6 batters that he's faced. And just 1 out away from bringing this thing to the bottom of the 8th. Santana's going to gun it over to third. He will get... Oh, yeah, he'll get there. The ball just popped out of the glove of Cannon Pierce. Might have had a chance, but instead, the speedy outfielder, from Fremont will take third and get his 7th theft of the year. So now a runner on third for Lale and a 2-1 count. Sanner trying to shut the door right here and is unable to do so on that pitch high and inside. 3-1 now for Sanner. The Corndogs just need 1 out. Regulators trying to take the lead And that will be an opposite field hit. And the play is made. Cannon Pierce amending for his sins over there on that dropped throw back to third. Was able to scoop that one up backhanded and make the marvelous throw over to first. Hasn't played third all year, but Cannon Pierce gives the Corndogs a chance to take the lead once again and keeps the Regulators off the board as we head into the bottom of the eighth. Bottom of the eighth, and these teams have been unable to pull away from one another. A 2-2 affair and a low-scoring competitive battle between the Corndogs and the Regulators. Queen City now has the ball in their courts and start off with Wilson Lohr pinch hitting for Luke Harris, who ended his night 0 of 2. Lohr, the usual leadoff man for the Corndogs, didn't get to start tonight, but looking to make a similar impact here in what is basically a brand new game with just 2.5 innings to go, or 1.5 innings to go, I should have said. And Lohr will take a big swing at that one for strike number 1. 1-1 count for Justin Wignott. Lohr, the lefty, will take strike number 2 looking. So now a chance to get his fourth strikeout of the night for Wignott as he deals this one in and catches Lohr chasing. So he does get that fourth and puts one out on the board for his Regulators as number 23, Miller St. John, who is 1 of 2 on the night, returns to tail off the end of this Corndogs order. St. John will watch that pitch go in for strike number 1. Wignott finding a little bit of juice here as the game hits its home stretch. Regulators hungry for a win, are 1-9 in their last 10 with the aforementioned 8-game losing streak. Meanwhile, the Corndogs, 1 game below 500 in the conference, trying to cement themselves as the 4 seed, which seems like the most likely option if they're able to keep up their current pace of hanging around 500. And now a 1-1 pitch is in and ruled strike number 2 low, and the Corndogs bench does not like that one. Some changes are also worth noting. Jacob Gilming is over at second base now for the Regulators. Josh Lale has moved to first, and Anthony Bianchina has transitioned over to third. Some adjustments to try to propel this Regulator squad to their first win in a hot minute That one is blasted over. Foul from Miller St. John, who is now in a 2-2 count with one down and no runners on. Wignott allowed the 2-run home run, but since then has been dynamite for this Regulators squad. The Regulators coming off a 1-7 loss at the hands of the Lake Norman Copperheads, who currently sit in the top three. The top three in this league seem to be pretty cemented as we head towards a playoff push. The Statesville Owls have shown the league that they are a force to be reckoned with and have really cemented themselves as the number 1 seed. Meanwhile, the Lake Norman Copperheads and Mooresville Spinners have been duking it out back and forth between that 2 and 3 seed, and the bottom two have been, or the third and fourth and fifth, the Corndogs and the Athletics have been battling it out for those 2 seeds. As St. John lifts that one into left center field, it'll drop for a single, and he's going to try to go for 2. The cutoff throw is not there in time, as St. John gets a double, his second hit of the night. And the Gaston College alumni, or should I say graduate, after 2 years there before he headed to Lenore Rhine, picks up his second hit of the year, or excuse me, of the game. St. John coming off an 0-1 performance against Concord with a much better performance tonight. Brings back up the top of the order with Dave Mosry, who is 1 of 3 on the game. Leading run over at second base, and St. John is a speedy guy over there to have to worry about if you're Wignott. St. John had near 15 steals in his sophomore season at Gaston College, taking a big lead over there at second right now. As a 1-0 pitch is in for a strike on Mosry, who has a single of his own the last time he was up at bats. Got all the way to third before he was held there, stranded, and kept this game at 2 apiece. Now in his 4th chance of the night, he watches that one go low, and a 2-1 count on the way. Mosry, no stranger to big games against the Regulators, went 2 of 5 here on June 17th with a 2 RBI single, and as well as an RBI double. And he takes a big hack at that one to even the count at 2. Mosry has 16 strikeouts on the season, none tonight. But with a 2-2 count, at risk of picking up that first punch out, as the sophomore from Weddington, North Carolina gets way under that one, and it looks like it's going to be foul, but still caught in right field by Santana. The throw back to third won't be there in time. So, though, a second out comes on the board for the Corndogs. They are able to advance Miller St. John to third and set the table for Tyler Cotto. Cotto is 0 of 3 on the night with a fly out and 2 strikeouts. Largely an atypical performance for Cotto, not used to seeing that out of him, as he tries to turn the tables here with that pitch fouled off for strike number 1. Cotto has a runner at third and is the second leading RBI hitter out of any Corndog, also second overall hitter, has 26 knocks and 25 runs batted in, as that's going to be ball number 1 on the Arizona native, or at least Arizona native turned East Coaster after spending a couple years at Austin Peay. And he lines this one foul, says the home plate umpire. Corndogs disgusted with that result, and what would have given them a 3-2 advantage turns into another strike and a 1-2 count coming up. Wignott bailed out right there by the close call. Rode the line, did Tyler Cotto, and now he has to defend the plate. Cotto went 1 of 3 in his last game. 0 of 3 tonight. looking to make a big splash as Wignott deals in this pitch, and it's going to be outside to even the count at 2. Miller St. John stays put on third. Tyler Cotto was 2 of 4 with an RBI against this Regulators squad the last time they faced off. Takes the 2-2 pitch and is hit right on the back, or at least on the shoulder area. Cotto will take his base for the first time tonight and has to suffer a bruise or two to do it. Standing in there tall is the 6'2", 210-pounder from Goodyear, Arizona. Now plays for Queens University. And after that pitch, nailed Cotto on the shoulder. A visit to the mound is in store for Justin Wignott. The Regulators trying to get this final out and give themselves a chance to potentially take the lead in the 9th. But until then, we'll have a quick timeout. Could this be the moment the Corndogs make their big play? Runners on the corners with 2 outs, and Dylan Lewis heading back for his 4th at-bat of the night. Has 2 strikeouts and has been walked. Waiting for number 42 to make some noise as that pitch is high. And a pinch runner has been put in for Tyler Cotto, it appears. And not just any pinch runner, it's Caleb Singleton, who has a team-best 13 thefts on the season. Taking a generous lead over there at first, and the speedster from South Carolina will be able to advance over to second. Meanwhile, St. John will come on home and give the Corndogs a 3-2 lead. Lewis will get over to second, and Singleton is trying to send it home, and he does. Caleb Singleton on the 2 RBI double moves all the way from first to home, and Dylan Lewis delivers in crunch time to give the Corndogs a 4-2 advantage. The double brings in 2 and sends up Harrison Bouthelette for some potential insurance now, as the decision to sub out Cotto, who was clearly in pain from that hit pitch, pays massive dividends. Not only do the Corndogs get the routine on RBI from St. John, who was standing on third, but Lewis's hit was able to bring in the fastest man on the roster. After Lewis went 0 of 4 last night, was 0 of 3 so far, 0 of 2 so far. A short memory benefits number 42 out of Queens University and gives the Corndogs their biggest lead of the game. Bouthelette now in a 1-0 count. Takes this pitch high for ball number 2. Now that the dust has settled, the Regulators not only have to get this last out, but have to put up at least 2 runs in the top of the 9th to keep this game alive. As Wignott deals this one in, and it's going to be popped up into left field. It will draw a foul, but will they get there is the question. And they do. It's Goodman tracking it down towards the Corndogs bullpen. And after the big 2-run RBI from Dylan Lewis, Queen City takes a 4-2 lead into the potential final inning of action here between them and the Regulators. Well, the Regulators are down to 3 outs after allowing 2 runs on an RBI double from Dylan Lewis in the top half of the frame, or should I say the bottom of the 8th, as Carson Sanner gears back up, tasked with closing this one out, and the first pitch of the 9th is going to be way outside for ball number 1 on Eric Sledge. Sledge has yet to make a huge impact on this contest, but has a 1-0 count in his favor and pops this one up into center field, but it's going to be handled right there. Looks like number 42, Dylan Lewis, who just made the big play on offense, is able to put up the first out of the inning and shorten the lifespan of the Regulators. And a new batter in the game, number 4, Jacob Gilming, a 5'8", 160-pounder from Huntersville, North Carolina, inserted into a high-stakes situation, and that is a high ball, but will not carry far enough as it is handled in left field by Wilson Lohr, I believe, or Adam Quintero, one of the two. Subs have been coming in and out like it's a hamburger chain in California. And now with 2 down and a 2-run deficit, the Regulators down to their last live. And that's going to be an outside ball on number 38, Roman Garcia. Garcia, 6', 230-pounder from Charlotte, North Carolina, tasked with trying to keep this game alive. Both fly balls that we have seen this inning have gone pretty far, but just not far enough. Carson Sanner, who has 4 punch-outs on the game, has allowed no runs after coming in of relief of Aiden Meany, making his best stretch of work of the season. These two pitchers that have seen limited action are carrying the Corndogs right now on defense, as that one is popped back, and Sanner has just one more strike to get to cap off a glorious Corndogs debut. No earned runs. Only a hit allowed, and this being his 3rd inning, as it is going to be another foul ball from Roman Garcia. So the festivities will have to be delayed at least another pitch. Garcia has been starting behind the dish as the catcher tonight. Now has to catch contact with the ball as Sanner locks, loads, fires, and a 3rd consecutive foul ball in the exact same location. Both these guys right here know what they want to do, and neither of them are able to do it that much better than the next one as this battle of an at-bat persists. Garcia now, once again in a 2-2 count, takes the pitch from Sanner, and it will be low for ball number 3. Full count now. Sanner trying to avoid making things too interesting here as he has a 2-run cushion, but as we've seen throughout the season, regardless of what side it's against, that is far from impossible. And now the full count pitch gets tipped out, and it's going to be handled by Bouthelette. The throw to first is there, and Carson Sanner makes his first appearance of the season for the Corndogs and throws 3 flawless innings to close out the Regulators and hand them their 9th straight loss. Queens City moves back to 500 in SCBL play and now has a chance to move above the 500 mark with a 7 o'clock matchup tomorrow versus the Statesville Owls. We'll have coverage of that game in the 3rd of 4 here at the Friar. I'm Jonah Weintaub, and thank you for tuning in to Corndogs Baseball here live from the Friar.